Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my gorgeous Pisces. This is going to be your May 2025 reading. This will be for Pisces Sun, Moon, Rising. Many of you are going to be intuitively guided. Thank you for paying attention to your intuition. As many of you know, some of you don't, but many of you do know that I do read through, I say my spirit guides, but it's really our spirit guides because I feel like they're all together, and they know that we're all going to be here. Um, and, a reading will find you in its perfect time. So also feel free to ask your guides for signs of confirmation. I truly believe that you should feel a reading like, I feel this. Because it is soul to soul. I believe we're one big soul family. So, all right, Pisces. So just a couple things. I want to give a shout out to Justin, Sam's son, whose birthday is on the 26th of February. He's the one who has that line of coloring books. I don't know. You probably many of you seen that little promo I did for him where we did the color off. Well, I sent my picture in. What I mean by that is like after you color or your children, whoever, um, you can upload it right to his site. And he's doing a competition, so to speak. But it's going to be like advanced, intermediate, or beginners. And there will be prizes attached to that. So if you decide to buy a coloring book, definitely upload your picture, your children's, you know, your artwork. Let's call it your artwork. Um, Real quick, I also want to remind you about the membership program, level 2 that I have. This is where we go live on a weekly basis. This is where you can really ask me anything you want to ask me. Um, and I really put no limit on it. You know what I mean? Like you can ask as many questions as you'd like. I just say be fair to who's in the room. So that's level 2. When we have a total of 4 in that, we have a lot on members on level 1, but level 2 we only have 1 so far. So when we get 4, then then it's go time. It's go time. And I'll also do some special videos for you guys and just for for my appreciation for you. All right. So, we are going to use a few different tarot decks and oracle. It's going to be a nice mix. We will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading. We're going to use the Gilded Tarot to clarify, go deeper. We are going to use the major arcanas for our bullet points. And for your main spread, this is the newest deck, and it is called the Guardian Angel Tarot. Or, I'm sorry, Guardian Angel Messages Tarot. And when I bought this deck, this calendar came with it. It was free. I thought it was a wall calendar, but it's not. So I'm reading for each reading I do. I'm reading the day I'm doing. So for you, everything I need to know is always revealed to me at the perfect time. Wow, what a perfect message. Um, when we're just about to go into what I call a psychic reading. All right, so we'll move this over. Let me take another drink of coffee. Don't mind the lights I have in the background. I'm doing a promo with someone. They sent me, it's a strip of lights. I just have to figure out how to use them. But right now, don't mind the way they are. It's not the way they're going to stay. All right, Pisces. Let's go ahead and start with Mother Mary. By the way, I think I forgot to mention, you may also be in love with the Pisces. whether romantically or platonically. Same thing, your guides know that. They know you're here. And I know your guides will use whatever means necessary to get a message to you. So, with all that being said, I'm just going to take a moment, just kind of clear my mind, open to our guides of the light for Pisces and those intuitively guided for divine messages, divine clarity, and divine potential. And I thank you. All right, I'm going to bring the lid down and let's go ahead and begin. So we'll start with Mother Mary. Okay, you have a few. Whoa. Well, you have three. Feminine. Feels like the light is strange. Feminine. I allow my feminine nature to shine brightly as a valuable part of my identity. You know, something you want to keep in mind also, Pisces, is with the moon being your major arcana, that is the energy of the feminine. So, you know, that loving nature. I'm sure there's times when maybe you don't want to use it, but right now, it's like Mother Mary's calling for you to use it. I allow my feminine nature to shine brightly as a valuable part of my identity. Present moment. I am fully present in the here and now. I can tell you there's going to be a reason because this is where your guides reach you in the present moment. And then we have compassion. Well, they all seem to fit. Compassion. I see and feel others' points of view with forgiveness and kindness. And I have to say, of all the signs, you're really great at that. Um, you know, it may take time to forgive, to let go, but eventually I feel you do. And this energy is calling you into the present moment. Not only that, but it's asking you to bring out the feminine side. So, we'll see why. We'll put these right here. And, oh, let's go ahead and bring in the major arcanas. You know, this is something I started to do a couple months ago, and I used to use these here and there. But I don't know, lately I feel like they are just bringing so much value to our readings. So, why leave them out? It does add a little extra time. You know, I don't mind. I know the majority of you also don't mind, but I know there's a few who do. All right, we have the Tower. Okay. Well, Mother Mary's calling you to the present moment, so that Tower's already happened. Tower talks about disruption. Can certainly speak about endings. You know, I often feel in this image, it just makes me feel like someone's fallen from grace. And then we have, beautiful Temperance. All about divine timing. You know, maybe one thing needed to end for another thing to open. That is the way energy works. You know, one door closes, another door opens. That's the truth. And then we have the Devil, card of Capricorn. Temperance, by the way, is card of Sagittarius. It's interesting that the Devil's energy is mirroring the Tower. The Devil can certainly talk about temptations. You know, you could have certainly been tempted to something over and over again. And Temperance, where she's controlling divine timing, that may be exactly what it's talking about. Like the realization, maybe some of you have had this realization that you may have been like in a repeat pattern. You know, what I love about Temperance here is you can literally see her mixing the loving waters of these two cups. And to me, it represents soulmate love, but in its divine time. It does feel like something had to go. Something may not have been serving you. You know, the devil is great at casting illusions, making us feel stuck. That's an illusion. Some of you may have closed down your feminine side for a while, you know, and I have a feeling it has to do with the tower, but that's okay. You know, no judgment here, but something's calling you to the present moment, and then temperance, which speaks about trusting in divine timing. Well, that tells me divine timing is very near, if not now. All right, I'm going to give it one more shuffle, see if anything else wants to come out. If not, we're going to let it be. We have Judgment, your spiritual team. I always love it when they show up in a reading. Another message that is calling you to the present moment. There's something about to happen. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear, but we'll figure it out. So, Judgment speaks about a rebirth. You know, it's like surviving the tower and being better than ever. I don't know, I'm picking that up intuitively. But that's what I feel like. Maybe someone's saying that to themselves, like, man, I survived that tower and I feel better than ever. Or maybe you just feel very, very proud of yourself, which I feel like you should be. Some of you may have been kicking certain temptations, you know, let's just say anything that's had its hooks in you that is not going to help you evolve, then I feel like, first of all, Judgment is not going to let it happen. It's almost like Judgment is clearing negative energy for you, getting this current energy ready for you. A rebirth, wow, mirroring the tower, I'll take it. All right, let's bring in um, the archangel messages. Six of Pentacles, charity, generosity, windfall. Okay, one more. I don't know why I'm giving it so many shuffles. It's already pre-shuffled. But let's give him a cut. You know, I'm really learning to love this deck. My only wish was that they were a little smaller for my tiny little hands. All right, let's begin. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Can be Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Gracious, practical, capable. We have, look at this. The King and the Queen of Pentacles side by side. Now, I know you're Pisces, and I know many of you may be like, well, that's good for them. But honestly, I feel like this is you. Now, I don't know if something happened. They are connected at this moment, but they have two very different energies above them. One, the Tower, the other one is Temperance. Like-minded energy. All right. We have the Four of Pentacles. Forgiveness. Oh no, doesn't say forgiveness. I was going to say Mother Mary's, it says frugal, extravagance, control. Like don't spend more than you can afford to spend. Four of Pentacles to me is also about a foundation, making that foundation as strong as possible. I feel like in the tower, many times the reason why the tower falls over, so to speak, is because the foundation wasn't strong to start with. So, first of all pentacles, we have the Ace of Fire, the Ace of Wands, opportunity, creativity, action. So, again, where you've had energy of being called to the present moment, action. So, your spiritual team, along with divine, is sending you signs. They're letting you know that your intuition's going to be activated. You're going to feel it. This is about inspired action. So I love to see that right under judgment because, because you're being called to the present moment, that means to me that signs are going to be sent, probably very strong signs. And these signs, there's some type of action that would serve you to take. We have the Five of Pentacles. Interesting how this line is all pentacles, except for the Ace of Wands. I'm going to slide these over a little bit. Five of Pentacles. Here it says lack, worry, assistance. Five of Pentacles is mirroring the Queen of Pentacles. Now I'm getting a little different picture of the King and Queen here. Well, let's see what comes under them. We have the Queen of Cups. Under the Queen of Pentacles, we have Awakening. It's the Hangman. Under the King of Pentacles, we have the Three of Wands. Beautiful. This is you doing exactly what your spirit team is asking you to do. Bring your attention to the present moment. I even love what it says here. Goals, expansion, vision. Vision. To me, that's psychic vision. And then we have, well, hello, wise counsel. This is the Hierophant. Belonging, learning, traditions. You have two fives. It may speak about two changes. That's usually what fives are. It's not usually, that's what five means. Some type of a change. In the Five of Pentacles, it may be something I didn't ask for. But I often feel in the Five of Pentacles, it's moving you closer and closer to soulmate energy. And then the other five being the Hierophant, first of all, card of Taurus. But I feel like this five wants you to ask yourself a few questions. Like, are you living life according to your terms? If you're connected to another, do you have to lower your vibration to be with someone? And if that's the case, is that what you really want? All right. And then we have the Eight of Cups. So I'm happy to see the Eight of Cups. Searching, empowerment, fulfillment. The reason why I'm happy to see the Eight of Cups is this means that someone has probably taken some time to really understand their emotional house. The things that have gone wrong, maybe the energy that I had been tempted to. Sometimes we keep getting tempted back to the same type of energy, and then we wonder why nothing changes. Well, because nothing changes. Though, it kind of is showing this King of Pentacles potentially having an awakening. I feel like no matter what's happening, I feel like the advice to you is to be as much as you can in the present moment. Like try not to focus on the past. And if you find yourself focusing on the past, ask yourself why. What are you searching for? You may be searching for your own answers. And in the Eight of Cups, you'll find them. For some of you, I feel like you were simply like connected to energy that just doesn't feel like it meshes with your own. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. See if I can pick them up. We have the Seven of Pentacles. First of all, I want to say, how many pentacles are you getting in this reading? Seven of Pentacles is a great energy, though. There's a couple things I feel when I see the Seven of Pentacles. First thing I feel is that whatever has happened before and whatever is about to happen is all meant to happen. So I don't feel like, like you've been in free will choices. Let's just say you've been in difficult energy, but I feel like there's something very valuable that you can or you have learned from it. Don't look back with regret. Look back and understand how much you have grown. Even if you still feel a little broken. You know what I mean? Like, don't give up on your dreams, your hopes. That's what the Hierophant wants you to do. Keep hope alive. When the Three of Pentacles, that's exactly what you're doing. You're trusting in divine timing. You are saying to divine, I know that my ships will come in. And I know they're going to come in divine timing. Well, everything is calling you to the present moment. I have a feeling this Queen of Cups is you. I do feel like it's you who has now found this emotional clarity. I feel like this is you saying goodbye to the past, but really feeling much better. Day by day, day by day. Like every day, I feel like you feel a little better. All right, I just want to see if there's anything else I want to look at before we bring out the Gilded Tarot. And, because the Seven of Pentacles is here, and because you are like over and over being called into the present moment, think of the Seven of Pentacles as like your tree of life. And every seed on this tree, well, look at this. Hello, Ten of Cups underneath that. So who knows? It could be love that's hidden. But anyway, every pentacle on this tree is your pentacle. To me, it's your soul seeds of intention. Some of these I feel like are predestined. Like I told my spiritual team, I do want to have certain experiences in this lifetime. I also feel when you see the Seven of Pentacles, it's a great reminder that you are a spiritual being in this human body. Like you have so much more power than sometimes we give ourselves credit for. And it's also a beautiful omen of how divine is really working in your life. Okay, let's go ahead and bring out the Gilded Tarot. And let's find out a little bit more about the people. All right, let's give them a cut. And we're going to start at the beginning. Let me just switch myself around. My foot's falling asleep on me. Okay. We're going to start at the beginning. So we're going to look at this king and queen. Five of Swords. The Page of Wands. All right, so somebody carried some toxic energy. I just have a feeling that this king and queen are no longer together. Or if they are together, then I feel that someone may want out. It feels like there's difficult energy surrounding them. You know, the king does have the hangman underneath him. And to me, it feels like the potential of this king having an awakening. Now, awakening means the truth of who I am, the truth of everything. But at this moment, this Five of Swords being mirrored by the Five of Pentacles, that is not easy energy. Now, do I feel like this is your past? I do. Because I feel like there's no way Temperance and your spiritual team would call you into the present moment if, let's say, this is still going on. And if they are calling you to the present moment and this is going on, they may want you to ask yourself some real questions here. Remember, we're in the year of the Hermit. And to me, that signifies, many finding their spirituality, but many find it through the dark night of the soul, through difficult experiences. Sometimes we're looking for someone to come in and save us. And I often find in the Hermit's energy, we figure out we can save ourselves, right? Sometimes it's these changes. I was going to say simple, but there may not be anything simple about them. Yet it still feels like, I mean, first of all, the Five of Swords, that's a lot of, to me, it feels like not good communication. I get this feeling that this King of Pentacles, like, I get this sense of immaturity. Um, but yet I also get this sense of wanting to try again. Mm, wanting to try again. I would say if that's the case, because this person does have the opportunity to turn this hangman around, you know, and be very truthful with oneself. It's almost like, how did I let the one that I really love get away? Why did I do the things that I did? I feel like they're going through a lot. Some of you don't care. I get it. But I feel like it's good to understand, like, everyone's perspective. So, although I do feel like this king has done some things, I still feel like they want another chance. Okay, let's keep going. We have the Page of Swords over the Four of Pentacles. First thing it made me feel like is like some of you are going to get a phone call at your house. Like you're at home and you receive some type of a message. I'm really not worried about this message because it's also connected to temperance. Hello, Ten of Pentacles over the Ace of Wands. The High Priestess. Look at this. The Ace of Cups. So there's love. Interesting. I feel like someone just feels like they regret their actions. Now it's interesting we have two pages side by side. So for some of you, this could be someone from back in the day, and you may be the one that got away, so to speak. But I do feel like it's more their actions that caused that. Like I could only take so much. I feel like communication wasn't good. Maybe when I think of the king or the queen of pentacles, especially the king of pentacles, this is someone who can go silent very easily. I know. Um, but in at their core level, at their core level, they really are someone who can what's the word am I searching for? This is definitely someone who can they can turn their life around. They can definitely turn their life around. You know, the king and the queen of pentacles can have the tendency to overthink. I don't even know why I'm bringing that up right now. It's interesting how I'm seeing wise counsel. Because, like, part of me is like, am I recommending that you give this person a shot? Because, in a way, I'm like, why? But yet, everything inside of me feels that way. Let's just put it this way. If you have someone coming back who, I don't know, I feel like you would know that they would think that you were the one that got away. You know, they've probably been in other relationships, as probably you were too. And maybe they've never found that full fulfillment that they had with you, even though I feel like they screwed things up. Sometimes we don't know better until we know better. But listen, here's the main thing. We have the High Priestess over this Five of Pentacles. So this is about trusting your intuition. You know, you're going to know more than anyone whether this is worth a second chance or not. I'm saying a second chance. I hope it's only a second chance. If it's a third or fourth chance, then I feel like, you know, three strikes and you're out, buddy. All right, well, let's keep going. I do love the Ace of Cups right over you. Five of Pentacles. Interesting. Two Five of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles. And then the Hangman. So two Hangmans. Interesting because the Five of Pentacles is coming over the Hangman. The Hangman is now coming over the Hierophant. It does feel like someone's had some spiritual growth in their life. You know, I feel like this is talking about a few different things. You know, right now, yes, I'm concentrating on love, but I also feel like with Judgment here, calling you to the present moment, and then it brings out the Ten of Pentacles. What's underneath that? Well, the Ace of Wands. Um, to me, that means you're going to receive like epiphanies, ideas. Like this is your ability to create true abundance for yourself. And you know, I feel like for some of you, it is like you put love on the back burner. But I don't feel like that was a bad thing because I feel like you were concentrating on you. You know, like what it is you do in the world, but also your own energy. You know, like you understand, like the higher your vibration, the higher of the vibration that must come back to you. And when you understand that, then you don't lower your energy for someone else. So, because of that, let's say this person is going to ring you, trust your intuition. If you decide, I'm going to give it a shot, I would go slowly. You know, the Eight of Pentacles kind of answers of, you know, can, let's say, well, we do have the Ace of Cups here, so no matter what, well, I feel like this Ace of Cups is a few different things, to be honest with you. First of all, I feel like it's you starting to love your life again. It's mirroring the Eight of Cups. This is where you have found emotional clarity, at least enough to move forward. And that's all you have to do. Take a step forward. But it kind of feels like you put everything else on the back burner so that you could really focus on your craft. And I feel like your spiritual team is definitely helping you in that area because I feel like they're sending you like some great ideas, some great epiphanies. And you can use these, you know, they're sending them to you so that you can, I feel like, multiply your money. You know, the Eight of Pentacles talks about the willingness to go into something like as the apprentice, knowing that one day you will be called the master teacher. Now, another thing this relates to, I feel like, is the love here. So if I'm questioning, can this love, let's just say the Ace of Cups right now, how do I know it's going to work out? Well, I guess you can't really know, but the Eight of Pentacles talks about what you focus on is what you will grow. So if both are willing to put their focus on each other, then I feel like love will only grow. But I also feel that with your money, you know, and yes, you can focus on more than one thing. I feel like some of you have been waiting for that payday, so to speak, and I feel like it's right around the corner. Even says learning, like you've been learning. And then the Ace of Wands above that, and then action. Learning, put it into action. An epiphany, I'm gonna learn what I can about it and put that into action. It will only serve you. You have like this ebb and flow within this reading. All right, well, let's keep going. We have the Three of Pentacles. Beautiful. So the Three of Pentacles coming over the Eight of Cups. Number one, to me, it feels like this is you saying, are you realizing, your own worth? Three of Pentacles speaks about your individuality. This is the energy of other people admiring you for what it is you do, but sometimes you don't even notice that because you're focusing on what it is you do. But it is about other people admiring you also, and because it's mirroring the Ace of Cups, if it's also talking about love, well, then this is the perfect card because it talks about these two people knowing each other on a soul level. It talks about the celebration of the individuality where I don't want to change someone. If I feel like I want to change them, I got to fix them. Don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, you can help people heal, but, I guess just know who you're helping. But I have to say, I love this Three of Pentacles, both for your money and for love. All right, let's go underneath it. We have the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups again. Interesting. We're getting all these people. Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups. Let's put them like that. I feel like the Queen of Swords is you, and I feel like it's you using your voice. We have the Four of Cups. Um, so let's go back a second. Because right now I feel like all the queens are you. Male or female, by the way. And remember, Mother Mary called for us to bring out our feminine energy. Well, the Queen of Cups showing twice, definitely feminine energy. But anyways, look at the beautiful doves around her. So I feel like whatever she's speaking the truth. She's speaking her truth. Um, and some of you, this is what you're doing. Like I see this person, this Queen of Cups, where she has this notebook, and it's like we just kind of interrupted her, but it's like these epiphanies, these ideas that she's been receiving from her spiritual team. It's like she's writing them down and then probably speaking them, doing something with them, producing something with them. And I feel like, this is not just about love of another person. I feel like this is also a love of what you do. And I say that because I feel this queen feels pretty pretty satisfied. Now, I feel like that's in her money because now we have the 4 of Cups. And I feel like maybe the one place I felt I was lacking was within my emotional life. 4 of Cups speaks about discontentment and boredom in our emotional life. The truth of the 4 of Cups is there is a cup coming in. We literally have it on the table already. This 4 of Cups, or this cup is coming in. You can see it's coming from divine. And the meaning is to use your spiritual discernment. You have the High Priestess, you have temperance, you have judgment, you have all this spiritual help, and now you just got to trust it. If you want it. But it is saying there's some dissatisfaction. Or maybe it's not even dissatisfaction, it's just like, like here I am creating, a business. Some of you writing a book. Interesting, I just said that because that's what Jocelyn was doing. Like I feel like there are no issues with your money. And if anything, I feel like your money is going to multiply. Now, I do feel like you need to put the work in, but I feel like your spiritual team is like, we are going to help you. It feels like you're doing something special. And that may be a little bit of why, like, the emotional part of your life was kind of put on hold. I do feel like you put it on hold. But I am seeing, again, like maybe a little loneliness. Doesn't have to be anything major, but it is the recognition that that's the one place I feel like I'm lacking. I don't feel like you're lacking within your money, or again, if you are, you have the ability to truly multiply that. Listen to your intuition, listen to your spiritual guidance. I'm telling you, they're going to take you to the 10 of Pentacles. All right, let's keep going. Chariot. Beautiful. Over the Hierophant, or under the Hierophant, with the Hangman above it. Interesting, right? Because the Chariot is movement. The Hangman is a pause in time. Well, the Hangman is seeking wisdom. Spiritual wisdom that I can use on my next steps. In a way, I feel like for some of you, it's this king. And, it's not very often that I talk this much about someone of the past, but I feel like it just kind of feels like it was meant to be. You know, the Chariot is the balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the dark. The Chariot is driven by your soul's intentions. You tell the Chariot where to go. You know, our human mind can put limitations upon it, but this feels like a soul's journey. And again, you know, as long as I'm willing to focus on whatever I put my focus on, it will grow and grow and grow. But the Chariot also recognizes that. I also love the Chariot mirroring the Ten of Pentacles, like money just seems to be rolling in. But, you know, to be honest, in the Ten of Pentacles, I often don't feel one's alone in the Ten. Unless, let's say you're a single parent and you're raising a family. Look at that. We have the masculine now. So we have the feminine. Now we have the masculine. And hello, Temperance. How beautiful the Temperance just came out with the sun. First of all, the sun is Leo's ruler. But the sun is your illuminator. The sun reminds you that anything done in the dark will come to the light. The sun's a very playful, loving type energy. It reminds me of like our inner child coming out to play. It's like a promise of a brand new day. And look who's ushering it in, Temperance. Well, Temperance up here mixing the beautiful waters of these soulmates. Now comes in the line where you have a cup coming in, and the sun should make it very clear. So let's say this king does contact you. And if they do, whether they say it or not, and I feel like eventually they would, I feel like you're the one who got away, so to speak. You know, you're the one who holds my heart, even if I've been with other people. Because I feel like you probably have too. But maybe you've never really found that ultimate feeling of love like you had before. But there were issues. There were issues. However, I do feel like this king has a beautiful opportunity of having an awakening. And in this awakening, that means one is being very truthful with themselves. Otherwise, you're not in an awakened state. Sometimes it gives you the ability to take chances where maybe before fear would have stopped you. I don't know. I just feel like this king wants you back. I'm going to come right up to that king. You know, here's the thing. I'm seeing your growth all over the place. I'm seeing you recognizing you. And I feel like you're having this realization of it's up to me to create the life that I truly want. You know, I do feel like you know that your spiritual team is always available to you. Again, I feel like for many of you, it doesn't feel like I have to have love because I feel like there are other satisfactions in your life, other things that are making you happy. And I feel like for many of you, it's what you do, what you create. And I wouldn't be surprised if you are pulling on some past experiences. Maybe you're helping others to get through what you have gotten through. All right, let's go and look at this king. Knight of Swords. Oh my gosh, Knight of Pentacles. Two knights back to back over the king. So, we started with the Page of Swords here. What's he coming over? The Four of Pentacles. Oh, that's right, because I feel like someone's contacting you while you are at home. So, a page can also talk about what's in the atmosphere. So, I have a feeling someone's been thinking about reaching out. And then I feel like they ultimately do reach out. Now, why? Well, I love that the Knight of Pentacles just came out because that is guardian angel energy. And your guardian angel would never suggest anything that is not for your betterment. Knight of Pentacles, it is slow moving and interesting because so is the King of Pentacles and so is the Queen of Pentacles. But Knight of Pentacles tells you, I come at the right time. And that you can trust in. Like when this knight comes in, you know it's divine timing. Well, here is divine timing. So that's why I couldn't get my mind off this king. Yes, I do feel like this king has done some things they're not proud of. But I do feel like they have that realization now. They want you back. You know, can it be a past life and not this life? It can be. But if that's the case, it's like, okay, because we do have the Seven of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So remember, in the Seven of Pentacles, I do feel like some of these seeds are predestined. And let's just say this love is predestined. Well, that means the experiences that you've been through were also predestined. That means that you helped to teach each other. For them, you may have taught them how to grow up. You know, that they have to value who they're with. They have to show that value, right? They gotta put action behind it. But the thing is, I feel like this person is ready, willing, and let's go. No way your guardian angel would come out if it's not something that is for your betterment. Now, you have the option, of course. You don't have to say yes, you can say no. Again, I feel like you're sitting pretty happy at this moment. I'm not saying everything is going right in your life, but I do feel like there are certain things that you have your focus on that are bringing you like a sense of joy, but also money. And again, I feel like your money is going to multiply. Well, part of that may be, remember how I said in the Ten of Pentacles, I very seldom feel like you're alone. Wow. Normally, the King of Pentacles is someone who's very good with money. But again, maybe I had to learn how to be good with my money. You know, they could have made money very easily and then spent money very easily. I feel like there was a lot that they had to, just like we all do, we had to learn and grow from. Sometimes we don't want to grow. Like, I don't want to change this. I kind of like it this way. But it's not serving anyone. But that is each person's free will choice. But anyway, okay. So I say yay to the king. You can say whatever you want, but at this table, I feel like this is the guidance we're getting. And again, the sun and temperance together. Anything done in the dark will come to the light, period. There are no places for shadows to hide when the sun is out. Mother Mary is asking for your feminine energy to come out. And now we see the masculine energy. And right before that, the chariot, which is the balance of the feminine and the masculine. So I'm just going to say that chances are I'm going to believe this king. It's interesting because I can look at this reading and see the Queen and King of Pentacles and think of Sam and I. And we were teenage lovers. And we did break up. And we went on to be with other people, marry other people, have children, live our lives, right? I moved away. Um, but then 40 years later, he picks up the phone. Well, he calls me at home. So I have to believe in this because I can see my own story in this. Now, I'm not saying my story is your story, but what I'm saying is I feel like my guides are being very clear to me that, yes, sometimes things can go wrong, but that doesn't mean that it can never, ever work out again. I mean, Sam and I now live together. And boy, did I take my time. I took 5 years before I made that ultimate decision of whether to move in with him or not. I had to leave. I was living in Rhode Island. He's living in our hometown of Pennsylvania, so I had to move. I didn't have to, but he owns a home and you know, look who just showed up. The feminine. So your major arcana. I don't even know what I'm looking at. So I'm going to put it right in the middle. The moon can speak a very dreamy type energy. And you know what, Pisces? Just the way you like it. Dreamy, romantic. Like, don't bore me. We have the feminine and the masculine right there. Oh my my. Okay. Two swords. That makes sense. That's our humanness. Two swords is, potentially a block. This person's wearing a blindfold. Normally that means there may be something I don't want to face. But maybe I really need to face it. I don't feel like it's a major thing. I feel like this is something we can overcome. And listen, maybe you don't need your eyes in this situation. Maybe you can feel it. Maybe you'll feel your way. We have the Hierophant, beautiful. We have, hello, Ace of Pentacles. Well, what did the Knight of Pentacles? It promised it was coming in at the right time. Well, here it is. Here's what it brings. the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles means something's coming into your physical world. It's going to change your physical world, but for the better. You know, I look at the Ace of Pentacles as a seed we plant. And if I nurture that seed, then that seed will blossom. And it's not just going to produce one flower, it's going to produce many flowers. And the more I keep nurturing it, the more flowers it produces. That's why I feel like the Ace of Pentacles is not a one-time thing. And then look at this. Hello, soulmates. Wow. Temperance has been busy. I even love that the soulmates is now coming under the Hierophant. And the Hierophant, again, is your belief system. But it really is the light. It feels to me like, this is a year that I felt like there was going to be a lot of spiritual awakenings. I feel like the world needs the healers to come alive, to use your healing energy. It doesn't have to mean like I do it in a business, but again, if you do it in a business, perfect year for it. I don't even know why I brought that up. But the Hierophant to me speaks of, because the Two of Cups is under it, similar morals. Similar morals. I feel like if this King of Pentacles, back in the day, I don't know, I was going to say cheated. But the truth is, I don't really feel that. I do feel like it was difficult. And first of all, I feel like first it was very loving energy. And I feel like, even when we broke up, it doesn't mean the love stopped. It just means I couldn't take any more of the situation. So, interesting how we also have two hangmans. Maybe both are coming into awakening. And when you have that awakening, especially because the one place where it looks like you may have some discontentment is within your emotional house. And then look how Temperance brings out the soulmates. It's almost like Temperance is saying they're ready now. They're connected on the same level. I mean, come on. I'm not even going to push that. I think what I'm going to do is let's bring out the clarifying love situations. Does this king have to be someone of this lifetime? They really don't have to be. And I'll tell you why. I do a lot of past life readings. And I see how, like in a past life, especially because we know now this is soulmate energy, chances are you've had previous lives together. And let's say, a previous life, something may have not been fulfilled. So you come into this lifetime to fulfill it. Now, when you come into this lifetime, you're born with amnesia. You don't remember that, but your soul kind of directs you. Even the breaking up part. Like, I know it was hard, but something is telling me it needed to happen. Maybe it needed to happen so each could evolve on their own. Each could have their own realizations. Each have their own growth, like within their time. But now, because we have the soulmates right next to the Ace of Pentacles, this feels like the time of reconnection. Again, whether it's past life or this life, you'll know. You'll know. Because if this didn't make sense, then chances are that was a past life. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and well, wasn't going to take that many, but we're going to. All right, we have entangled. Establish and communicate your own boundaries. Establish and communicate your own boundaries. Reciprocal lines. Navigate boundaries. Look at this. Boundaries seems to be the word. Navigate boundaries with grace. Mastering the art of give and take in harmony. Well, I'm going to flip it this way. Truth unveiling. Confront issues with honesty, revealing secrets to light the way forward. Confront issues with honesty, revealing secrets to light the way forward. Celestial grace. In special moments, feel the blessed touch of the divine, guiding your path. Wow. In special moments, feel the blessed touch of the divine, guiding your path. Well, that's how we opened this whole reading, was guidance. Ticking clock. Let love unfold naturally and give it time to grow. And then last but not least on this deck, veiled paths. Face the mystery of uncharted passages with the courage to explore unknowns. That sounds exciting. It makes, it's like giving yourself the opportunity to just, live. Again, the sun is kind of like your protector. It reminds me of Archangel Michael. Like, invoke Archangel Michael into your life to protect you. But I feel like your guides and divine is like they're doing one heck of a job. All right, let's bring out the romance angels, though, in a way, we really don't have to because we already have. We know this is a soulmate. First of all, you have the Ace of Wands, right? That's inspired action. That's passion ignited. And then you have the Ace of Cups. Well, that is unconditional love. And that's why it can also speak of past lives. And then you have the Ace of Pentacles. So now it's time for it to come into your physical world. And what is it bringing? A soulmate. And what's the best way I can handle this? Allow it to unfold naturally. We're seeing the feminine and the masculine's energy of the utmost. So I'm really feeling like there have been some spiritual awakenings. All right, let's bring out the romance angels. You deserve love. You are lovable. Wow. Probably one of the most lovable signs in the zodiac. Make the effort. Make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. I feel like that's where I'm going to leave it. It's a reminder that you deserve love. But also, how do I love that it says great love is worth taking the steps. You're guided. It's all over the place. Guided to take. That's also what the aces are. Ace of Wands, that is definitely guidance. The High Priestess, that's your intuition. The Sun will illuminate your intuition. Let me just say this. There is a celebration of you, who you are today, who you have become. But there's also a celebration of love and two people knowing that they have a very good chance. That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say two people knowing that they're in love. But then let me add, and then there's a very good chance of this, well, turning into the Ten of Pentacles. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. I feel like because we have soulmates, that's also on your tree of life. This just feels like the right time. And some may say, well, why wasn't it the right time back then? Who knows? Maybe it just wouldn't have gone the way, maybe it wouldn't have lasted forever. Where now, because we both have evolved, we both have learned lessons. I feel like you feel like you're doing pretty well. I'm not saying you have everything that you want or everything that you need, because there is some discontentment. But like your ability to create a really abundant and loving life, it's all here. And it's all brought to you by your guides. I mean, how beautiful is that? Think about that. Like you are being called into the present moment. Mother Mary is calling for your feminine energy. That usually means there's something that you're going to nurture. Well, I feel like you're already nurturing like what you do in the world. So the nurture for me feels like it's talking more about this love. And I do feel like for some of you it is past life. Though you may have been together in this lifetime too, but I definitely feel like you had past lives together. I do feel like there was something that was left unfulfilled. And this feels like an opportunity to fulfill it. It is your free will. Yet I feel like your guides are doing everything they can to help you feel good in this energy, to help you feel comfortable in this energy. But remember, the ball will always be put in your court. You don't have to say yes. You might just love your life the way it is and decide, I don't want anything else in it. But I have a feeling someone will try to win you over. Because there is definitely a recognition of who you are to them. It's like this recognition of, doesn't matter how many times I fell in love, the love has never been the same with anyone like it's been with you, even when it was bad. You could have been very passionate people. And, there's two sides to that passion. Anyways, I think I'm just going to leave it there, Pisces. Um, your readings never disappoint. They're always exciting. They always have twists and turns. But the divine guidance in this reading is really off the charts. I hope you notice that. I hope you believe in yourself. And, the love part of it, I feel like I'm just going to leave that up to you. But I feel like your guides are very clear. But again, it is up to you. I feel like your guides are also recognizing like the person you are today and how proud they are. You know, like if the things that you've overcome, these towers that tried to take you down, but they didn't. You know, they may have taken you down for a moment, but you got back up again. So, all right, I'm going to let that be. I love you guys. Thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.